us. You have to believe like us. Otherwise, we're not going to even work to liberate you. The so-called pro-resistance camp cannot interrogate the ways that they actually serve the same old colonizer agendas that they claim to oppose. You can't say it. You can't talk about it. Loyalty to the faction supersedes loyalty to the truth. And they call this solidarity. This is their version of solidarity. It's not solidarity. It's the institutionalization of dishonesty. Because real solidarity doesn't require you to lie. If your coalition cannot hold itself together except by agreeing what not to say, that's not solidarity. That's a conspiracy of convenience. You understand me? So when you have that mentality of a scavenger, scavenging for allies, when you watch Middle Nation content, you are not actually engaging sincerely with the analysis. You're evaluating my tribal membership. Whose team is he on? And if the answer isn't your team, then the analysis gets discarded. Gets discarded, not refuted, discarded. You don't argue with it. You just withdraw your endorsement and move on to someone else who's willing to say what you want. Because truth for you is instrumental. It's instrumentalized. It's just a tool that you pick up when it serves you and you put down when it doesn't serve you. It's a weapon that you will deploy against your enemies, but it's not a standard that you will hold yourself to. And when someone comes along who holds it as a standard and who will apply it regardless of who it lands on, well, that person becomes a problem. They can't be controlled. They won't stay on the script. I'm not neutral, by the way. I'm not neutral. That's all. That's another misreading. Neutrality means equidistance. It means not declaring anything right or wrong. I'll call out wrong. I will call out injustice. I will name the crime. I'm not neutral, but I am impartial. There's a difference. Impartial means that the position that you do take is not determined by who is involved, but by the facts and by the truth. And this principle will apply regardless of the players. And when the principle lands against you, even if you are the wronged party, I will still say it. The question is not whether or not I am on your side or not on your side. The question is whether your side is on the side of the truth. That's the only thing. That's how you'll know which side I'm going to be on, inshallah. When I describe injustices committed against you, against African Americans, for example, wrongs committed against working class Americans, wrongs committed against so-called minority communities in the West, against the victims of the Western system and the Western power structure, I'm not issuing those people or those demographics or those populations a certificate of innocence. You seem to think that those two things are the same thing. They're not. Victimhood is not innocence. You were wronged and you do wrong. Yes, you do. Both are true simultaneously. And they're not contradictory statements. It's a complete picture. It's the full picture. You understand? And you'll accept the first half and you'll reject the second half with precisely the same energy that your elites reject the whole thing. You have a different position in the hierarchy, but you have identical psychological reflexes. My critique of Western so-called civilization is not directed exclusively at your ruling class. No, it is not. They're not directed only at your governments and your corporations and your military apparatus. I'm talking about the whole society, the whole culture, the collective culture, including you, including the West victims who live in the West. And the moment that becomes clear to you, then you react identically to your elites. The same defensiveness, the same deflection, the same accusation that, oh, Brother Shaheed, you used to make sense. I used to agree with you until you said that, which tells me that the values are not the difference between you and your elites, just the power, just the access to power. I mean, let's talk about your society, your so-called civilization, what it is, what it does, what it produces. This is what you call civilization. The United States of America, the flagship of Western so-called civilization, the self-declared leader of the free world, holds approximately 2 million people in cages right now. That's 25%, or roughly 25% of the entire world's prison population in a country that is only 4% of the world's population. Those two figures sitting together tell you everything that you need to know about the distance between the rhetoric of America and the reality of America. No other country on earth, not China, not Russia, not any of the nations that you condemn in your so-called human rights reports and so forth, no other country comes even close to your numbers of incarcerated people. 20,000 people are murdered in the United States of America every year. 600,000 people are raped every year in your country. More than 80,000 people died from drug overdoses just last year alone. And that number has been climbing for 2 decades straight while your institutions debated and deliberated and held hearings and nothing was done except for the problem to get worse. 150 people die in workplace accidents every single day, every day in your country. And that's a conservative figure. You know, the United States Surgeon General declared that loneliness is a public health crisis in 2023. The Surgeon General, a formal official declaration that your society has become so atomized, so broken in its most basic social fabric that isolation has itself become a medical emergency nationwide. With all